When you shift away from everything and just kind of sit back and look at everything really closely, I don't think we really understand our true capabilities of who we are and where we're from. I do think if you start looking really closely and comparing things all over the place, things might start to make more sense as far as maybe things that we're taught don't make sense. Think about if you could just throw everything away that we're taught and just critically think within your own mind what we're looking at, if you can compare the different places, what's really going on here from the left to the right. We have structures, obvious, mixed in the left video. On the right, there's a couple places I've been to that looks just like on the left, but not a cave. Just think of all the different words and narratives they put on everything. Here's outside of a cave, place I've been to, formations they would call inside of a cave, on top of rock. Then you go inside of a cave and there's some formations, that's what they call it. More formations here, outside of a cave, and then a formation that's called a natural bridge. Hundreds, thousands of them all over the world. There's nothing natural about that. It just doesn't form. None of this makes sense. Because when you look around you everywhere and compare, nothing computes. They talk about millions of years or whatever in fossilization, and to me it's just an event that happened and flash froze things, plants, beings, anything into what we're seeing. Show some short clips of the channel that I hung out with. I don't know where I'm going to take this, but I'm still learning like everybody. Thanks to all that are watching.
The people of the world to see one television program at the same time throughout the world. Think about that kind of communication, and think about the opportunity that will provide. It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Of her rappel, he could have stopped her from falling in the event of an accident. So we've done a double bunny ears here, double figure eight.
That's the way I learned.
I hear the thunder of the water ahead. Well, he just ran through it. This water's, I don't know, about mid-calf deep, about a foot deep. It's all going to go over into a pit. Come towards me! Come towards me! What? Come this way!
So here we are at Cedar Ridge, Crystal Cave, Tennessee. A place that I've never heard about until I've got the invite from Kelly and her husband Jason. It was an incredible time. I'd like to stress some incredible explorers that took a chance on me that has a different mindset on stuff. These are true explorers that show people things that they don't normally see for a couple decades now. So here with Kelly and her husband Jason, and they brought me over here, and they were nice enough to, did I get in the picture real quick? I'll prove I'm here. So nice enough to invite me to this cave in Tennessee, And just if you would tell everybody, Kelly, when you started and how long you've been doing this, and anything else you want to say about it.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Georgia, and I started caving 21 years ago. I loved it so much that in 2011 I made the move from Atlanta up here to Marion County, Tennessee. And Jason and I, we bought land, built a house, and we've pretty much turned caving into a lifestyle for us here.
Yeah, so how long you been rappelling, you said?
Well, rappelling, I've probably 15, 16 years. So about the first 5 or 6 years of caving, I just did horizontal caving. I was a little too scared initially to get on rope.
Right. I appreciate you asking me out here now that it's misting and everything. But especially how crazy my channel is a little bit. So, so I appreciate y'all very much for taking that.
Yeah, you're welcome. We watched some of your videos last night, and we enjoy watching it and looking at your perspective of things too. So.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Collaboration is wisdom, right?
Yeah.
How do I open the darn thing?
You gotta twist it. We gotta shut the door too. Now you.
God, it's warm in here. It's warmer in here now than it was.
Is this your first time in here?
Yeah, sure is.
Could be some of that oil. Yeah, it could be oil. We've seen stuff like oil in the
Natural asphalt.
isn't that like asphalt
Coming through?
coming through oil. Yeah, like coming through the limestone. It makes black staining like that.
Black staining is such a curiosity for me. Here's somewhere where I was at, and you can see the deep black staining here, and looks like lichen or whatever, something growing over it. But like, where is this really coming from, and what's going on here as far as the deep black staining? Another place I've been, and we see this all over the place. This black staining on top of the rock or in caves or wherever. And it doesn't change. It's some of it is actually weathering, but in this case, in the last picture I showed, that's not weathering. It's there forever. It doesn't change. So where did this come from, and what is it? Still don't know. According to what they say, they were blasting for the interstate right below this, right around the 1960s, I believe, and it opened a hole for people to experience this. One crazy thing that I found that while I was there, my backpack, it hit one of the formations, and it was like a metal sound. And then I knocked on it, and it was hollow. And then I knocked on another one, and it was hollow, and it sounded metal too, but a different frequency, I guess. How are formations hollow and sound like metal over millions of years? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. I'm just thankful that I can just go out here and think for myself and have people that actually respect other people's line of thinking and can take them and have a good time. Here's what they call in geology cave turnips. Let's look into that really quickly. Uncovering the mystery of cave turnips. All right, so scroll down here, and basically they're saying it's a bulge in the middle of it as far as the stalactite, and then forming a bulge. It's very rare. Then, of course, you're reading the long words and stuff, and kind of struck me here, morphology, which I like to say morphing a lot as far as bricks and stuff and morphing to stone and rock. So we're going to check out what that word means here. Yeah, like this down here, the study of the form of structure or anything. Okay, there's some other meanings here, but kind of like that one, structure. And then you have another long word here. It's kind of like government and law. You have to go to school for a long time to learn words that don't make sense. So here's one. We're going to see what that means here. Try not to have too much sarcasm, but sometimes I can't help it. So here we go, hydrogeology. Okay, we have karst. Okay. Another formation, right?
Okay, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On your property or somewhere?
Well, it's down the street from where our house is. We've got 5 acres. We
nice one,
there.
too.
It's a 162-foot vertical entrance pit.
Have I been to it?
No. And it's got a second pit that's about 40 feet. That's always wet, and then there's about 500 feet of cave there.
And I was there when they blasted the cave open. And it was originally open.
When it was first
Yep.
discovered.
Yep.
Did y'all immediately start repelling too, or as far as when you...
So yeah, when I met Jason, when we met, we were both already vertical caving, and he was already surveying. So then that's when I learned how to survey, and we do a lot of surveying and making maps of caves.
And she works at the
In,
bed
in
breakfast.
between surveying, we do a lot of just fun recreational caving.
Right.
Yeah, she does.
How many caves have you been in that's just been you? Or, you know, the first people that go in it?
Oh, how many virgin caves do you have?
I'd say probably a couple dozen. I'm not a numbers person.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you how many caves overall I've been in, but it's definitely more than 1,000.
I would
What?
say, yeah, I would say they probably have found new passage, a lot of new passage in
Yeah, I've
pre-known caves. They've done a
Yeah.
lot of that. Jason, I know, has.
Yeah, I found a blowing hole in our last project cave, and we ended up getting about 3,000 foot, and we discovered a 98-foot waterfall and a huge room.
I did see that from your video. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
incredible.
that was a
Yep.
big project because we brought in Robbie, and he dome climbed. He climbed the wall up to the top, and
I looked at
we did a
flowers.
dye trace there. So we do a lot when we kind of hone in on a project. There's a really thick tree root.
Oh, yeah, I really see it now.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty thick.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And it comes out over there, you said?
Right here, yeah, on the other side of this rock. You can see it. It almost looks like a cable. The way it continues to go through right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's,
All the way
it's
around.
thicker back there.
And then you'll start to see a whole bunch more roots.
We'll go through a few pictures here. This is the original entryway to the right of this. I think back in the 60s. Of course, I've seen this brick, and of course, this could have been put here. But looking closely too, and I don't know, but really looking suspicious. And this is the only spot basically with obvious noticeable brick. Here's a spot here. You have that brick over here, and looking a little bricky this way. But the thing is too, if you're making a spot to basically protect people from coming in there or what have you, why are you going to make it so small? Is this for skinny people only? It just doesn't make any sense. But so this is the old entryway, and then the original is up a little forward to the right, I believe. They made a bigger one, and it's not much bigger than this area here to get in. So apparently skinny people only. And to me, it's up to you, the viewer or whoever, of how this actually came to be. Is it from millions of years of dripping and collecting like this? Or is it something else possibly? You have stuff that does form and dripping with the different minerals and stuff, but I just can't see anything doing stuff like this over millions of years because, first of all, you can't see it recreated or anything. Millions of years. Anyway, all this is crystallized. They said these are, in geology terms, layers and layers compacted over and over. What I see is huge blocks and lines, and you can call it melting down into the earth, or it just did this over time and leaned over, but that's kind of like what structure looks like. Ceiling is always mysterious, right? You have this stuff coming through, but they always come through in these cracks or whatever that are squared or rectangle, straight lines. I'm sure there's a term for that in the geology realm. Here you have what they call nature, and it is separated here. So, still trying to figure out how this formed and what they say and what we're taught. I mean, I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but my interpretation is a little bit different than what we're taught in school, because I can't see anything doing this over millions of years. Just really not sure where else to go with that. Here's a closer shot of that. Separated about a foot or so, maybe 2 feet. Here are those turnip, whatever they say. And of course they say this is rare. The narrative seems to me like anytime they can't explain stuff in certain areas, it's more prevalent in, say, an area in one state or country, and then they just say, well, it's rare, because they really can't explain it. And so when it's forming, as they would say, how does it just bulb out and then start going down? Like, just doesn't really make any sense. Well, it's rare. So, the rareness of nature. I always enjoy looking at the ceilings in places like this. It's just super flat most of the time. And then you have what looks like, I would call, structure like lines, cracks from the rock, but all I see is structure that's been covered, melted, whatever term you want to use, I guess. And that's just my opinion. And there are things like this that I was talking about earlier that I bumped into and hit with my backpack or whatever, and it was sounded like metal, and then it was hollow, and then I would hit another one that was hollow and it was metal. So, more strange thing to me too is, how are these formations hollow? How do they form like that? If it's dripping down and coming up over however long, how does it encase itself, and how is it hollow? And why do they sound like metal? Not all of them, just a few that I ran into. Just asking questions that really should be asked. And I don't want a geology term telling me to go ask some scientists and stuff about things that they were taught that were made up not too long ago. And the thing is, why didn't people start finding this stuff hundreds and hundreds of years ago? Right? When did people start exploring? If we've been around forever and we're just starting basically to dig everything up and find everything. I say just start is, maybe a couple hundred years or whatever. That part doesn't make sense. And this piece right here, it's different than this side, which looking on the bottom, and there are pieces like this that are on the bottom, could have peeled off or whatever, but you're getting different transitions here. Shouldn't it all basically look the same? This was formations. This is an incredible place. Really cool. You could just stare at it for hours. The theories that were given and bashed in our heads are just stupid to me. But, it's just my opinion. Here's kind of a close look at a few of the places in there with the black staining, as I would call it. I guess that's going to be all for today. I'm going to get out of here and appreciate Kelly and Jason and the experience that I had with them. And definitely check their channel out. Appreciate everybody being here. Peace within.